TV. Look out for all of that from Instagram to Twitter, now X, to Facebook, and of course to YouTube as well, where we're streaming live. And like our pages, subscribe, and let us also know your comments in our section, right? Well, we have our guests who have joined us. They get to share with us perspectives on the news making headlines. Dr. Justice Apiakubi is a development expert and also the Dean for Dominion Theological Seminary. We're grateful, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's a wonderful Tuesday.
Amen.
Yeah. We also have Reverend Nanaya Bafo Boni, who is an architect by profession and also pastor with the Eagles Network International Ministries. Grateful that you can join us.
Thank you for having me.
Right. Okay. We'll zoom straight into the issues now. Quite a number of issues that have to do with the Office of the Special Prosecutor. First has to do with the declaration, once again, of the former Exchequer account, the former Finance Minister for the Republic of Ghana, Mr. Ken Ofori Atta. Who has been declared again as a wanted person after he failed to appear in person before the office as directed, Office of the Special Prosecutor, I mean. The Special Prosecutor, Mr. Kisi Ajebeng, in a stern notice issued on Monday, June 2nd, stated that its patience with Mr. Ofori Atta has run out following what it describes as repeated delays and non-compliance with ongoing criminal proceedings against him. This is what he had to say, and I quote, "The office has always requested his attendance, and we have indicated clearly to him that we are unwilling to waive it. If we were amenable to taking any statement from Ken Ofori Atta in absentia, we would have done so in February and not waited till June 2nd, 2025. We want him here physically. We insist on it. Suspect in a criminal investigation does not pick and choose how the investigative body conducts its investigations and the method suitable to him and his convenience. We will not countenance his conduct, not in this case." And then also the case of, yes, of course, they rejected the virtual session. And then we will also talk later about the OSP uncovering 218 million Ghana cedis corruption scheme, the National Petroleum Authority, and criminal charges to be filed by the end of June. The Office of the Special Prosecutor has exposed a massive 280 million corruption scandal at the National Petroleum Authority, with multiple high-ranking officials alleged to have abused their positions for personal benefit. At a press briefing on June 2nd, 2025, the Special Prosecutor, Kisi Ajebeng, said the OSP has unearthed, through investigations started in November 2024, a deep-seated network of financial malfeasance and power abuse within the NPA spanning the years 2022 to 2024. According to the OSP, the investigation discovered that some senior and other officials of NPA had planned and carried out a corrupt scheme by capitalizing on the regulatory authority to extort large sums of money from oil marketing companies and other stakeholders in the downstream petroleum industry. Doc, let me start off with you. I mean, in all of this, my interest has been from yesterday, of course, the questions I posed to Reverend Bafo Boni is the issue of accountability, that there will come such a time where whatever your stewardship is, whatever your position is and was, you will account for it. However it looks and sounds draconian, you have to account for it. And that is where I believe the country is ongoing. The issue only has to be sustainability. Talk to me about accountability.
I'm really hoping so. I'm really hoping so that it's not just going to be just dress rehearsal that we just do because Ghana, one of our biggest problems actually is making sure that something is maintained for a long time, as you mentioned about sustainability. That's really something. And also, when we sometimes personalize certain things, that loses esteem. That is also one of my challenges. But just doing your work and doing it and continuously, I think really help the nation. I am looking forward to a day that a politician, a government worker, or even an ordinary Ghanaian, you are doing something and say, hey, if I don't take care, they will come after me. That is that's my dream. That we don't do things and do it with impunity.
That's right.
And come and just brag on TV, on radio, and know that at the end of the day they are going to say, oh, politics.
Insinuations.
Yeah, of course. I'm looking forward to getting in there actually. So that is what I'm looking forward
I'm
to.
glad you said that. I'm very glad you said that, because people do it knowing very well that they'll hide under the coverage of a political party and shout witch hunting.
And and you know what? These guys actually, they are playing on our intelligence. So you know why? Because they will do the thing knowing of the fact that it's their individual evil doings, and yet that they know the way Ghana, we are very vulnerable. You intentionally wear blue and white or green and black. Then the green and black and red and blue or whatever, white and we are fighting at the end of the day. So it is time for us. That is the reason why we have not even come to maybe on to miss one, but I've just chipping small. That sometimes we intentionally say, no, this one, go fight your own battle. So that people learn a lesson that no, there are some things when you do, even your own party won't support you. If we come to that tangent, or we come to that position, is really going to help us a lot. Now, but you're talking about the special prosecutor and what he came out, his press conference yesterday. I listened to it. A lot of them I agree with him. A lot of them I didn't agree with him. But as a whole, maybe because of my mindset and my expectation, just as I was saying behind the scene a while ago, made me look at him with the tail end of my eye, or whatever, the back of my eye, because first and foremost, it's not him as a person, but to me, the office. I mean, if you are talking about causing financial loss to the state, to me, the OSP is one of them, the office, not him. Even the kind of building, that 2-story buildings supposed to be there, nobody is there, because what they are doing is so sacrosanct and it's so distant that even angels shouldn't pass around. They work with other agencies. Those agencies can't occupy the place. Like, for example, if you go to Yoko, their office, you can see that they are struggling. Can they work with Yoko in certain areas? So let's give them, they should go and build a house for them in an island, so that we take a boat and bring it to them.
When you say causing financial loss to the state, what it means is that you've got to prove that they've caused financial loss to the state. If you built a system for yourself for which...
I'm just trying to be extreme.
Yeah, of course. Justice is extremely slow. And sometimes, and this is not just Ghana, elsewhere as well, said to be extremely slow. And sometimes even...
When was the office established?
I beg to disagree. Not just mildly, but extremely.
Yeah, I'll come to you. So I'm saying that. Yeah, I'm saying that.
So when was this established?
I mean,
how much? That's what I'll say. I feel so bad that I didn't bring what I listed yesterday.
Right.
The money that were proposed, and the money that were released, and the money that were spent, almost all of them. I remember one of them, I think it was around $48 million. They spent $54 million.
Budget overall?
Yeah. And my point is this. What was the TROs of to investigate people, prosecute them, and let's put them to jail? So they keep on doing investigation, press conference. Yeah, somebody was making a joke. The office have done much more press conferences than winning any case.
Do you realize, and finally on this before I come to Reverend, do you realize that...
He's boiling.
No, I'm not boiling. I just don't agree with some of the points raised.
The man who had occupied the office had stated clearly that if the system that he saw and operated in had existed, there was no way. I mean, he sought to say there was no way.
Are you talking about Martin Amido?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
There was no way any resource that was given to anyone, you were going to operate such a system. And so that's why I was saying that if the justice system itself has issues, you clearly, even if you were giving money's heavenly currency, you are not
saying
still
exactly what I am still.
So it's not financial
so
loss
which means,
there.
no, I'm coming. Which means
Doc
that
is getting the whole thing
I'm
wrong.
coming.
That's why he
so which
stated that
means,
it's
for
extreme.
example,
No, it's not even about extreme.
Yeah,
It's
so-
about wrongness.
So,
You see,
for example, oh, no,
no,
I'm done.
so he's
Let me
finally-
land. Okay, this is the thing.
Right.
So if you already been defeated even before you start the game,
that's not what
why
he's
do you
saying
even
either.
play in the first place?
That's not
That
what
is
he's
my
saying.
point.
That's
Okay,
not what
okay.
he's saying.
Okay, now go ahead.
That's not what he's saying.
Okay, go ahead, Red.
You know, for even now, the OSP as an office, Martin Hamidu was operating without an office for a very long time.
Sure.
There were no official vehicles.
Right.
He was not even given
let's
the
talk
power.
about-
He was not even. He
Don't
was
talk
not.
about Matamidu. You are mixing the whole thing.
Because without a history, you will not be able. You will come
Because this guy,
without a
he's
history.
so
No,
just-
see, I didn't interject.
Okay.
Without a history, you will come to the conclusion that you have come to.
Okay.
Because those expenses, you are actually mistaking them for expenses that are for the case. There are expenses that are towards the things that Martin Hamidu was requesting that he was not being given because the office was only created cosmetically. It was not created with that intention to really fight corruption.
Okay.
I believe, I may be wrong in this, my assertion, but I believe that the government, the past government, felt Martin Hamidu was embittered. He was being given that position to literally fish out his own people that they have an axe to grind with. But they will not go the route of the Attorney General, so that it doesn't look like it's the government coming after them. It's an independent office, you understand? And the whole thing blew up in their face when Martin started to go after their own people and even began to make assertions that even our president is the mother serpent and all those funny long articles he used to write. And remember that the choice of Martin also was galvanized by his ability to go up against the Wakeup situation as a citizen vigilante. We all know the history. So now he's put in there, and he's also deliberately being stifled because people perceive publicly that it was being put there to just do some sort of window dressing, to give the outside community the feeling that we are fighting corruption. I worked in the public sector when it comes to AESL, construction, and all those things. At a point, we also began to believe that Act 663, which was a procurement thing, was done just to attract investment to the country, because even the procurement process, and over time, the breaches that have gone on, because we always do things in a cosmetic way. So when we see someone like Kisia Jaben doing what he's doing, it's really unheard of to go after people that he's going after, the kind of big files that he is sort of getting after, and even doing it when they had incumbency. And if you realize, some of the cases was very clear because, like you said, the terms of reference of the various state institutions are different. When he did the Siladapa case, he said the investigation has showed him clearly that he's dealing with something that is money laundering. That does not fall within his ambit. He refers the document to Madam Tiwa Adodankwest's place at Ioko. And you and I know that nothing came out of it. Today, because there's a change in government and the person doesn't have the same, perhaps, conflicted interest that Tiwa may have, is requesting for those documents and trying to get to work.
So
that's what I'm saying.
What Doc is also saying is that there must be some results at the end of the day.
That's the result.
So if you cannot get the results,
what I'm saying is that, Koku, what do you mean by results?
Right.
One of the results is that he's built a docket for another state institution that can take it because it falls.
No, it's part of his mandate.
That wasn't his main mandate.
He said, okay, you go ahead.
A case was taken to him to investigate, which was corruption related.
Right.
He says that from his investigation and what he has found so far, it is not a corruption matter, it's a money laundering matter.
Okay.
The same, CID picked to me on a different case altogether.
Absolutely.
When he came out, he said that he had been charged with illegal mining.
That's right.
In the Ioko case, we are being told that money laundering is involved, car syndicate, all these things have been bandied about. So if you realize, there's an agency also called the FIC, fraud or something international, whatever, who also have said that they're also building a docket. So you see that every single state institution has a very clear thing that they are doing. That's why Ioko and other state institutions can't share that same building with the special prosecutor's office. It's just like saying that because Ministry of Health and Kolebu all are dealing with health issues, Ministry of Health should not have offices in Kolebu because there are other rooms there.
I think we have even digressed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, that Doc is the one that went to the digression. We have not touched the main issue. You understand? We can all express discontent with what we expect of the special prosecutor. You got what I'm saying? Maybe you are not satisfied with the kind of outcomes that you are getting and so forth. That's very welcome. But we need to understand that when we occupy some of these positions and people occupy some of these offices, when we are not fully acquainted with all the challenges that they deal with, and we make blanket and sweeping statements like that, remember that they also have families, they also have reputations, and it will send a very unfortunate signal. You know, I have an uncle that has been put there to act as Chief Justice. Somebody had the nerve to send me a message that our family is a bitter family. Exactly. You see how you find that extreme. So can you imagine Kisia Jabin's son is listening now? You get my. That's why I'm saying that we should be a bit measured in our public discourse when it comes to some of these things. That
Right.
I am not happy with A, B, C, D things, and I wish that in my opinion, this is how it should have been done. Now to Mr. Kendo Foriate's
Have you written that? No, have you written
and
that?
now to Mr. Kendo Foriate's issue, which you read, which brought us here.
Yeah.
I believe
the
that
question, let me put it in context.
accountability.
Not necessarily. You have also been a crusader of tampering mercy with justice, looking at what Christ came to do, not necessarily having to have people to pay the price and all of that.
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
I believe that we should not aim at custodial sentencing, especially when it has to do with people who have taken our monies.
Okay.
Because when somebody is put in Sawam for even 100 years, those 100 years, because of the political undertone, if he dies, we'll have problems. So we have to make sure that medically we are spending on him, he's eating well, he's sleeping well. Oftentimes, we may even get some sort of prestigious or preferential treatment because of the political undertones and the consequence of if something evil happens to them in custody. So at the end of the day, the state ends up spending more on them. Sometimes we even have to beef up security because such a person of class or a certain caliber is in the cell. So please let us look for our money first and foremost. I believe that there are rules of engagement in dealing with this thing. The OSP is quite clear that the issue at hand requires the physical presence of Mr. Kendo Foriate, and that Zoom and all these other laws that are being quoted using online. Because I also held that view, actually. I felt that, why all this hue and cry? I mean, technology now abounds. You see, but the OSP's point is advancing is that there are some legal issues that will require that a person would write, would speak, in person, face to face. Recordings will be held, present continuous, because even if you recorded somebody off Zoom, you could say you have doctored the information.
Right.
You understand? But we have seen you come, CCTV cameras are there, things are being captured in real time. You are present, your lawyers are present. There are other third parties that can testify that ABCD was what was asked, EFGH were the answers that were provided. So I think that Mr. Kendo Foriate, listen, if he is able to instruct his lawyers, it means that he's not totally incapacitated. We know of how we were told Asante Bidietu, Honorable, was in a very bad condition. Today he's around in Ghana. Some of the social engagements that have happened, we've seen him around and so on and so forth. For me, what makes it very difficult for people to show a certain level of sympathy towards Mr. Kendo Foriate is that first, we knew before he took the finance ministry work that he was unwell because he had resigned from his own company that he was on a part of. That's the investment company, the EPAC guys, Data Bank. You understand? And the main reason we were told was health grounds, right? Now, if you are not healthy to run Data Bank small as it is, but you can run Ghana's economy, it sends a certain signal of a bit of a doctrine of the truth, as it were, And then we were told that he had even been ill as of the time that he was in power. And even with the COVID thing, we know he nearly lost his life. You had to hold on to power until the president was under pressure to shuffle you. And even when he was shuffled out of the finance ministry, if you and I remember, he still held a position at the presidency, something having to do with some international transactions and stuff like that. And even a few times he flew out to go and help in negotiating some of these international transactions. So how can you be so ill in just 5 months that you are almost at the point of death? It begins to look like what the OSP is saying has some gravitas, that you are faking it, and we can see a certain trajectory. Honorable Amaya Kumfi is called, then he is very sick. Then our own chairman to me is very sick. Back in the day, if you remember, when Kennedy Japan also had an issue when President Mahama was in, then he is very sick. So today I heard somebody pass a comment that it looks like, some people always seem to be very sick only when they are out of power and their issues are being interrogated. So I think that like I said yesterday, Honorable Ofori Atta has been very emphatic and very clear that he's innocent, he's done nothing wrong. And I think the proof of that is that, listen, even if it's a life support, put yourself on it. Even if the government has to pay for an air ambulance for you to be flown over to do what you have to do, you do that. After all, people on ambulances were sent in there to go and vote in parliament, and they didn't die after that. They went back to their sick bed. I am not being insensitive. What I'm saying is the OSP is advancing a certain discourse, and it is putting you in a bad light. I think that if it's within its power, you should bend over backwards and over and above and just resolve this so that we can get it over and done with. Because I think that it's beginning to put the tag of guilty even before head on him. Because it looks like you are running away from something, and it's not good. And also the fact that the OSP was clear that, the Honorable demonstrated bad faith when you came to see them in private, that take me off the list. This is my medical report. I'll be back by this date. Then you turn around and sue him for putting you on a red alert list. I think that is what has removed any feeling of magnanimity and mercy on the part of the OSP, and he's also going all out after him. Awesome. But if you see 280 million Ghana cedi, the other corrupt things are there that the OSP is interrogating. I think that sometimes the political drama, makes people conceal evidence before we get to the matter of the crux of the matter. And I think those in our public offices, I'm not saying they shouldn't do these press conferences. Attorney General also did his own press conferences. He's yet to send anybody to court if I'm wrong or right about that. Okay. Sometimes we should not let
Dubai is in court.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that
the Skytrain.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, that sometimes I don't know whether it's political pressure or we want to be playing to the gallery, but we don't
transparency.
I doubt the transparency thing, because we have and see, because that is what is making, like Doc, for example, lash at the special prosecutor. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes we are singing too loud. Let us get on with the main assignment, and then let us get some sort of results out.
I also recall that there were calls, especially by media and assigns, to say that you are too quiet. There are some cases out there, so we need to hear from you. So there are calls from all directions.
You see, that's what I'm saying. So, like yesterday, he has given us A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H issues are under our radar. Iyoko has requested for this docket. You see, but sometimes I think we throw out too many details.
You don't think that it's rather the political undertone where they are having a lot of conversation on that? Because you don't get to hear the OSP often, but you get to hear a lot of political commentaries.
But what I'm saying is that
issue.
Even when the press conferences are held, in my view, in my little understanding of intelligence issues, sometimes I think that they throw out too much information. You understand?
Okay.
Like, for instance, yesterday's press conference, the OSP actually mentioned issues and told the director of the health service and the Ghana Education Service that you are not even aware of this, but I'm telling you this in public.
Yes. Yeah, I thought
I
mentioned that one.
So you see that.
What I'll say, what I'm trying to clarify is this.
Yes. You feel you have been misrepresented by...
I think I think not necessarily. I think it's what he's saying. It's just that I am not sure what exactly the office. Again, I don't want to talk about Ejabin.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about Amidu.
The
I want
office.
to talk about the office itself.
The office. Okay.
Okay. What was the purpose why the office was created?
Okay. I'm looking for that.
It was So and you will check also. You will come to find out that, for example, I put this on the cumulatively they've received 863.6 million Ghana cedis.
Okay.
Maybe this time, maybe initially the money wasn't forthcoming and stuff like that.
Right.
Let's talk about even security. When you see OSP right now, and you see the goons and the gangs around him, he is getting whatever he's getting. I know. I think, and I believe his statement, especially when he said that the system is stifling him. I believe so, because the system has been there since the day of John the Baptist. It's going to be difficult for him. I understand that. So it's not like I'm just rubbing that off.
Yeah.
But at least if I'm really putting you in my company to really sell my things, and you know that the what do you call this one? The people who are around are doing everything possible for you not to sell my things, and always. All that I'm hearing is that, because in Makola and where I am, it has been very difficult. I've not been able to sell one. I need to find a new buyer.
Let me just read 3 paragraphs of that. Maybe that could help our people as well. The Office of the Special Prosecutor, of course, some history was established in 2018, you're asking, as the gold standard and flagship specialized independent anti-corruption institution in Ghana in pursuance of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption. The Office of the Special Prosecutor has the object of investigating and prosecuting specific cases of alleged or suspected corruption and corruption-related offenses in the public and private sectors, recovering the proceeds of such acts by disgorging illicit and unexplained wealth, and taking steps to prevent corruption. It has to be said that we do not have laws on unexplained wealth. That's another conversation. But the third one, this is where it becomes interesting. The specialized attributes of the Office of the Special Prosecutor particularly lies in its fortification with the cure of the inadequacies of the existing anti-corruption agencies by being designed as a comprehensive anti-graft agency and investigative, prosecutorial, intelligence gathering, surveillance and counter-surveillance, police and national security and revenue generating powers. This is where it gets interesting because you see, a lot of people have even talked about they even getting their, as far as you even call it autonomous, they derive their powers from the Attorney General. Yeah. So I want to say that fortification with the inadequacies of the other ones is another issue. Maybe that we'll talk about that with some other people.
Do you know that OSP prosecutes through the Attorney General's office?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
He's not independent of the Attorney General.
But they'll tell you he's autonomous.
No, he's autonomous in his work of investigating and building the docket. If he has a case the Attorney General doesn't want him to proceed on, he cannot proceed.
That's the point.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
so then why are you even there in the first place? So they should kill out. My point is this.
No, I'm coming. I'm coming. No, I'm coming. Yeah, I'm coming. No, I think Rev, I think you've got to respect the opinions of Doc as well, because there are also people who have also said that merge them. What they are doing is merge them with the Iyoko.
It was
that's another school of thought
position that led to the split.
Aha.
The Attorney General was doing all of that.
Okay.
And they were saying that he'll be conflicted if he has to prosecute his colleagues. So yes, an independent.
Forgive us. I'm sorry. So you finish up because we are focusing on this.
Okay, this is the thing.
Right.
Remember, we are talking about results. I am not talking about why. I am not talking about why. I'm talking about what. If the thing is not working, we can give all the reasons. But that was, like, for example, I have one of our fathers. All of us know him. When you give you something to do, and you come and tell him, oh, this and this and that and that is not working, most of the time he will tell you, I employed you to solve a problem, not to come and tell me why the problem is still there.
That's right.
You see, and so that is what I'm saying. In fact, if somebody who loves Ejabeng, I can humbly say that, especially one time that he was invited at Joy, and he let them put the Ghana flag in, I almost cried, I'm telling you. I could see how the system is really messing up. So I'm not talking about a person.
You're talking about office.
If the thing is not working, why still keeping it in the first place? You see how the whole thing. We are here. We will come back and you will give me my stone.
Yes.
That Ofori issue, it will not go anywhere. We are here. You see.
I see.
Do not, because if you are if what
that is, if
saying,
it has to do with the office.
Yeah, if we are saying what we are saying now, then it means the system is still going to help Ofori. That is why Ofori is behaving what is behaving.
I see.
With that impunity, because you know that, well, at the end of the day, even the rumors that the judges don't like Ejabeng, it will go to, and they have their people there. So maybe now it will, so that is why the pass is here, the pattern I think is going to work. You know why?
Because he's gone to.
Yes, because it's no more with the place whereby they are saying that system is not helping them.
Okay.
If the system is not, because I'm injured and so I can't play the way I'm playing. If I'm a coach, I'll put you aside and bring somebody else.
That's right.
As simple as that.
Or probably
What we
change
want
the
results,
system of
Osofo.
play. Or change the system of play.
No, we want results, Osofo. That is all that I'm saying.
You see, I would have, as a person seated, I would have wished that we focus really on the moral aspects, the maybe even bring, because you guys are very deep in terms of even connecting morals to spiritual and all of that, so that people will be deterred from going into public offices and all of that. So that's where I really want our
you see, the thing is,
conversations to be focused
you
on.
made a comment
Right.
that will there be a day where people will, you look for the day where people will be in the office and they'll say, I won't do this.
Dropped it.
You won't do this because of, I think it's a wrong motivation. You understand? We don't do something or do something because the law will catch up with us. You have to have integrity. And so I do not believe for 1 minute that any of these things will be the reason why people will behave or not behave well. I believe that we should focus on building people of integrity. And it is not a passive process. Neither is it something that should be left to the church. Growing up, you know,
But the church has a role.
I think the church's role is very, very minimal, if you ask me. Yes, and I'll explain. Growing up as a child, right, when these moral conducts that we expect was part and parcel of our education and our socio-cultural discourse, people will do a lot of things rightly and with a sense of patriotism, even without any religious or spiritual leaning. Me getting up for an older person to sit up in a Trotsky as a child was not because I read it in the Bible. It was because that's what I was taught. In Osuari, when I see Auntie Aquile trying to carry her kinky to the roadside, I call my friends. Tell her Auntie Aquile is bent over. And we carry the kinky and we send it the roadside to her. And we don't stand expecting that she'll give us some coins to go and buy black and white toffee
No.
or achuda. No. That was what it was. You understand? Saying please, thank you. They will tell you what are the magic words. Please, thank you, sorry. They were part and parcel of us, you know. And I think that something is wrong with our educational system. Every attempt we make at trying to make it better, I realize that it is not done with our sociocultural values in view and also our competitive advantage as a country in view. For example, there is a country we say we have 70% of our population involved in agriculture. Show me what in our education that gives us that competitive edge in that agricultural space. We are not modifying it or modernizing it. We are not investing in agro-processing. I mean, the place where we say we have an advantage, there is very little or no investment there. There is very little or no education that is targeted towards that. Come to the same issue of the morality. You and I know the Japan story when they went to the Wakeup. Why did they clean up after themselves? You think because they are good Buddhists? No. But you go and look at their videos and see that right there from the kindergarten stage, the children are taught that. Many kindergartens at their level don't even have janitors. You are taught to clean up after yourself, basic doing things with your hand, engaging, being respectful. You get to the Pelican crossing and they stop, they cross. When they get to the other end, they turn and they bow to the driver before they continue their journey. So little kids are able to move from a few meters away from their home to school, unaided by any traffic warden, because the society, you see, when we want a result, we must be intentional about it.
So before I go
You
to
must be
Doc,
intentional about
before
it.
I go to Doc,
You
the
see.
same way you are calling for the contextualizing of education, for which it has to find, if you like, some expression in our sociocultural, if you like, tenets and all of that. It's where I am also coming from, that if you also situate religion, or if you like, what I practice in the same, it will still come out. So
Not
if-
exactly. Not exactly.
Not exactly?
Not exactly. Do you know why?
Right.
Look, I have been doing some ministry for some time.
Right.
And I will tell you that there's a big shift in a religious circle, especially in a Christian space. When I got born again in 1992, 2nd January, 10:30 a.m. at Baden Power Hall, Accra High Street, right? When you got born again, we were interested in knowing where you stay, teaching you how to have your quiet time. Somebody will call you to the park to pray with you, lead you to Holy Ghost baptism. They shepherded you. They were invasive. They asked, I'm talking about discipleship here.
Yes.
They asked you difficult questions that would make sure that you were living a transformed life.
It
Kwaku,
has
you and I
undertones
know-
of discipline.
No. Kwaku, you and I know today's church. We are just about the numbers.
Yes.
We don't care whether you are smoking
I think
weed
you were,
through
you were
your
just
ears.
speaking my.
You
You get what I'm
language.
saying?
You were just saying
no.
what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is that
Yeah.
the church can no longer be relied on for that social change because the church's focus has shifted totally.
Okay.
Totally. Look, when I was growing, right, and I'm not saying this to spite any pastor, but when you mention 100 rich people in Ghana, I dare you, nobody would mention a pastor's name.
Yeah, exactly.
But you and I know today. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes you don't even know whether we are thanking God for our blessings or we are flaunting it when we are showing our Ferraris and our whatever, and this is my house, I'm standing. You don't know what is wrong with us. You understand? So when it comes to the moral compass, one of the sickest institutions that needs its moral compass restored is the church and its leadership.
So that you can have some reflection
You see,
on society.
because when I was young, right, when you were
allowed to
immoral, we will either call a teacher, policeman, or a pastor to speak to you.
That's right.
So the teachers, Abi, we know. Policeman, Abi, we know. Bribe, corruption, all these type of things. And our pastor too has joined. Center is not holding. That's what we are seeing.
Yeah. So what I would say is that connecting to the Asian thing and their culture, and I would say generally every culture is connected to four. Rev, I've talked about one. So I would say that it's not just only education though. I really think that all the four are very important. The educational aspect, which also I've talked about it. Family.
Okay.
It's also very important. The family. So what Osofu is saying, carrying all those things. I remember there's a very great man of God in this country that called me not once, not twice, a couple of times. Just all of a sudden, he would just give me a call. Then mention Osofu. Do you know that you are a man of integrity? And he will say all those things. And sometimes I'm tempted to say that I didn't get some of this stuff in the church.
Exactly.
I get it from my family. That's how I was trained. Okay, so family is very important. Then, of course, we were talking about also the religion. Okay, the religion, as you say, it plays a huge role. I'll give you just one. Almost every religion, every culture is actually one way, consciously or unconsciously, come from our religion. Even with regard to the integrity and also, like for example, if reward systems and punishment systems, even in the Bible is there. Hinduism is there. All the religions are there. If you do good, karma is there. You know, they'll say some of these things. I will give you just example. One of the main reasons why the whites, for example, love so much of homosexuality or LGBT stuff, it's actually one way or the other, it's embedded in their religion. People don't even realize it. You check, for example, as you say, all of us, we are from a certain tribe. As of now, as Osofu as I am, and all the distance, one of my biggest sin for the nation to know is that sometimes I feel like holding Bible to swear in parliament is not enough. It's a sin. The Lord forgive me. If we come with Bible or Quran or whatever, let's get a schnapp, let's get an egg, and say, but the gods in voter region that I represent in this constituency, if I don't do A, B, C, D, and I take the money of this, you will see Ghana is going to be one of the richest countries in the world.
Why do you say so? Because I feel that that's clearly.
I know.
I don't. It's not like I agree. It is people and their conscience and their.
Do you know what Doc is saying may not hold?
Yes.
Today, some of the fetish priests that must enforce these things with the deities, they can be bought.
Yes.
Exactly.
So even for me, it's about the heart.
It's serious now.
The heart.
Because even the gods now, they don't take palm wine.
Very unlucky.
The gods, they don't take now, they're asking for foreign stuff.
I'm saying that clearly that doesn't work. It is just the case of your heart.
The fact is that when it comes to the modern world, a lot of the morality has gone so down that it affected everything. So I don't think it's just only the religious aspect.
Yeah.
Even in our education, how many lecturers sleep with students and give them grace? I've been in academia for how long? And you see, you will come to some of the institutions, if you don't know the name of the lecturer, just say Reverend, he will turn the head. Almost all. And yet, I was a chairman of a disciplinary committee in different schools. And they will come, and students come of these issues. So even education system is also messed up. So morality generally, as the Bible said in the book of Timothy, that in this end time, we are going to experience some of these things. And so we cannot throw only one and just concentrate on that. I really think that there's, maybe I use the word reset. Maybe we need a reset in all the systems.
Right.
That is really what that's really what I think.
Time check is 8:29
Oh,
a.m.
my goodness.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about patients suing a hospital for having CCTV cameras in their consulting room during an examination. And then, of course, finally, the Confanoche Teaching Hospital maternity block is going to be seeing some facelift. Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana, has pledged, especially when the Asantehene visited him at the office of the President yesterday. And so stay with us, we'll be right back.